American lobsters, typically found in the Northwest Atlantic, are one of the most valued seafood. They have 10 legs, with the front 2 legs being claws used to catch and eat prey. A study on the distribution of American lobsters in different habitats on Rhode Island done by Jennifer Silgraf from UBC and her team gives us more information on just how important specific habitats and habitat edges are for survival. This knowledge can aid in conservation efforts of endangered species and perhaps lead to the growth of high-quality, delicious lobsters. So here's an example of a habitat edge. Habitat edge is the intersection between 2 habitats. Here you see the intersection between sand and cobble seagrass areas. Animals that live in the sand habitats are exposed, where in cobble areas, animals can hide within the rocks.
Many studies have been done on land, where researchers study how land animals use the habitat and how it should be conserved. But very few studies have been done on how marine animals use their habitat. As a result, the ocean remains a mystery. Researchers from the University of British Columbia helped us answer some of these underwater mysteries by studying American lobsters.
With this research project, we were looking to see how the distribution of habitats, and particularly about habitat edges, so boundaries between places with more or less shelter, how those influence the capacity of lobsters to survive and where the lobsters chose to live in relationship to those boundaries.
How was this done?
We did 2 things. One was an experiment where we were looking at lobster survival, and during our experiments for lobster survival, we would have previously caught lobsters that we put on tethers, so we could put them in different habitats and see what their survival rates were at distance from the edge. So we would place lobsters like at the edge and then say a meter away and a couple meters away, up until you were in the middle of the habitat patch. And then we would also do it the other direction, so we'd put lobsters going into the sand or into the seagrass, moving further away from the cobble. And because we were interested to see how their ability to access shelter influenced their survival.
They were left overnight to see if they would be eaten. After gathering the results, Jennifer's team moved on to their second part of their experiment.
We also did surveys, and we did them, again, from distance from the edge. So we would go one way into the cobble habitat, and we would, every meter we would look to see how many lobsters there were and how big they were. And then we would go the opposite direction into the sand and into the seagrass to see if we could find any lobsters and where they were.
Using this method, Jennifer and her team have found that young lobsters are found in cobble patches away from the habitat edges, while most adult lobsters are found near habitat edges. The type of the environment influences where the lobsters and also other animals are going to be. They are making choices about where to live based on the probability of their survival.
The conclusions from our study was we found that habitat edges did actually have a really strong influence on where lobsters were living and on how they were surviving.
When we look at the ocean, we just see the surface, not what's underneath. But the ocean is not just a big blue soup, as Jennifer says, but rather it's a very dynamic place.
And so I think for anything involving the ocean, it's important to understand that the dynamics that happen in the ocean that lead to us having food to eat or having beautiful beaches to be at, like all of those things are dependent on the interactions between animals and plants and habitats.
With this in mind, we now know the importance of the marine habitat on organisms that live in the ocean. Therefore, we should take greater care of it from human disturbances such as coastal development. So the next time you walk down the beach and walk along the cobbled shoreline, think about how somewhere deep down in the ocean, there are organisms such as lobsters counting on this habitat to survive.